the bane of my existence, trying to keep the stupid things clean, right?
It sounds like a vacuum cleaner. That noise sounds like a vacuum cleaner.
It does. It's loud. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Board of Selectmen, the Select Board, excuse me, for Monday, September 23rd. It is currently 7:07 p.m., and we are here in the training room of the Public Safety Complex. First on the agenda, we have several consent items. There are 10. So as per usual, I am going to go ahead and read the consent items as they appear here on the agenda. If anybody has any questions or concerns, then we will go ahead and move those to the new business portion of the agenda. So number 1 on the agenda is to approve the meeting minutes from the regular meeting held on September 9th, 2024. Number 2 is to approve the request from the Paxton Boy Scouts Troop 105 to put up signs on the common and town roadsides for their bottle and can drive. Number 3 is to approve the request from the Paxton Boy Scouts Troop 105 to hold a bottle and can drive on the town common on October 5th, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Number 4 is to approve and sign the police union contract for July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2027. Number 5 is to approve the request from the Paxton Women's Club to hold a toll road at the town center on October 5th, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. That is going to be a busy day in the center of town. Number 6 is to accept the resignation of Lisa Davenok from the Economic Development Committee effective 9/10/24, with regrets, of course. Number 7 is to appoint Tanya Peters as a part-time public safety officer / matron. Number 8 is to appoint Michael Hinckley as a full-time public safety officer effective October 1st, 2024. Number 9 is to approve and sign the liquor license for Seven Saws Brewing located at 603 Pleasant Street for all alcohol for 2024. And number 10 is to approve the request from Anna Maria College to hold a 5K road race on September 28th from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. in memory of Chief Robert Mortel. Are there any objections to any of the consent items? Does anybody wish that we move any of these off to new business?
Can you please move item number 5 off to new business because I'm the treasurer for the Women's Club?
Sure can. Yep.
So I can recuse myself.
Yep.
Thank you.
Kirk, is there anything?
No objections.
Okay. So I declare that all except number 5 are approved, and we will move number 5 to new business. All right, so moving right along, Kateri, we have an update from the Board of Assessors.
Okay, and I passed out my little sheet. So I'm going to make it really quick. And just, the first part of it is just an overview. So as we know, because we've been over some of these numbers during the budget season, after a state mandated interim update based on all the sales from 2022, the total taxable valuation as of January 1, 2023 for fiscal 24, $782,518,766. And that is for all parcels in town, residential, personal property, commercial and industrial. And as we know, the single family average value is $459.20, and the tax rate for fiscal 24 was $16.07. That's just a quick review of those numbers. Currently, there are only 3 houses listed for sale. There are 4 parcels of land, of which 3 have been on the market for 18 plus months. I do get calls on quite a bit of the land parcels, and I do answer the questions. but really, I have to refer them back to the listing agents
Right.
on that. So those have been a little slow. So far this year, as of 8/31, we've had 39 qualified sales. So qualified sales are those that are listed on MLS. 4 are private sales, which are not listed on MLS, and 1 was a land sale.
Okay.
So those will kind of be pulled out when we do our analysis next year. New construction and additions for the fiscal '24 was $4,234,251, which equated to growth of 74,438. That has slowed down a little bit, although there's a lot of building permits that are pulled. A lot of them are for roofs, siding, a window here, a window there, a door. Not a lot of large construction projects. So it really has slowed down overall on that as far as what qualifies for growth. Currently, for fiscal '24, there was 1 home that had been partially completed in the fiscal '23 numbers, and now it's 100% complete. So that will hit for our growth for '25. And there are 3 new single-family homes that started somewhere mid-year that haven't been completed as of June 30. They're somewhere in the 50 to 60% complete. So we'll see some partial growth on those, and then the rest will hit for the following fiscal year. So,
Okay.
and then what the Board of Assessors did this past year, we had a little bit left over in one line item in my budget, and we talked at length about this on having a full review of all our personal property accounts, and that's to go out and have people go in and take the full inventory. So we have about 100 accounts. They were at $60, I got it for $60 each, and I'm getting the software for free for the first year. And they just completed that last week, or no, the week before. So I should have those numbers, and they indicated to me that they captured quite a bit of growth.
Oh, good.
So we should have those numbers in the next few weeks, along with the new software that they're going to train me on. So,
That's good.
and going forward, we've planned that we'll do 10 a year, a full review of 10 per year, and then any new ones, any new accounts that open up.
And it would be a rolling 10, I assume, right?
Be a rolling
Obviously,
10,
different
yes,
groups, yeah.
yes. And that's at a rate of $64 per account. And they estimate about 2 days' worth of work for that, and at, I think, $200 a day. So, and they're here a full day, from 8 until 4 or 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
so. And most of the businesses were pretty receptive to it, some were not. And I got a few
Understandably.
phone calls and a few emails, but for the most part, they said they really didn't have a problem
Good.
with going into the businesses.
So if we're doing 10 a year and there are roughly 100, then every 10 years, then there will be a update for,
Yes, well, they go out to, a lot of the local businesses don't like to file certain paperwork with my office. And although I try and I send it out to them, there's no penalties
okay,
for them. So there's, like, income and expense statements for some of the larger entities, there's a penalty if they don't get those into me.
yeah,
But your forms of lists, which are private, I can't disclose them to anybody, there's no, I can say, I need you to file this. I can send them out again, I can send them a letter, I can call them. If they don't file it, they don't file it.
right,
And then they get hit when we go out and have to do a review because they have to be reviewed every 7 years. So this is kind of setting this up for fiscal '27, when I have my full reval with DLS.
Yeah.
So this was one of the things that DLS wanted us to do. And, we figured we'd roll this out now and get it done ahead of time.
Yeah.
We can hit any of the stragglers next year that, they weren't able to get into this year. But for the most part, they got pretty much all the businesses. So,
Good.
so I think they did a good job. We'll just see how the numbers roll out. So.
Excellent.
So the veterans filings, we had quite a few this year. We had 46, so that's up 5 from over last year. And that's at about 46,583.50. So that's good. And calculating everything, we get about 17,000 back from the state.
Okay.
And that amount includes all the veterans filings, the 4 or 5 senior filings, and 1 senior work-off. So, and the board is also, last thing we're doing, we're gonna take a good hard look at the new legislation on the HERO Act, and all of this is by local option. So we had to kind of cancel our meeting a week and a half ago, but they have all the information, and our next meeting in person, we're gonna go through that and see what it is and where it is, and do we want to move some of this forward to the select board.
Okay.
We're also gonna take a hard look at the senior exemptions and the thresholds
Yep.
for income and assets. So it's too late to do it now and get it on for a special town meeting, because it wouldn't be effective until FY '26 anyway.
Right.
So if we have the time over the winter to look at this and see what, if we can propose something for, next year's annual town meeting, we will. So, and I think that's about it.
Okay. Any questions for Kateri?
Kateri, the 3 missed filings, that your last line, is
Yeah.
the total, is that the total?
That's
or-
the total.
Yeah, I thought it was.
That's the
Okay.
total. So 3 of them, they were like $400
Yeah.
exemptions, and they missed. And try as I may,
I know.
I make phone calls. I've even gone and hand-delivered the forms. Few individuals, I even fill out the forms for them. I type them up, I fill them out, mail them to them, and I still don't get them back. So, we have a new veterans agent, so I have his info, so I'm planning on reaching out to him and making
he can advocate.
connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, connecting with him. And there are those that are like clockwork with it, and then there are those that I have to chase. So, but I thought last year was a better turnout than the year before.
Yeah. Okay. Kirk, any questions for Kateri?
No, thank you for the update.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
All right, so under new business, I'd like to just start with number 5 from our consent agenda, which is to approve the request from the Paxton Women's Club to hold a toll road at the town center on October 5th, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I will entertain a motion,
So moved.
and I will second that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, Kirk?
Aye.
I will vote aye.
And I'll recuse myself.
And Carol's recusing herself. Okay, very good. All right, next up under new business, we have we're going to pass over number 1, correct? So number 1 was to appoint a new treasurer collector. There is another applicant, so we're holding off on that. is my
Yes, we have an
understanding, right?
interview on Wednesday.
Very good. And number 2 is to review a proposal provided by King Information Systems for record management.
Sure.
Heather, you up?
Yeah, absolutely. So on a high level, some folks may remember back at least a year ago, we applied for the IT records management grant through the state community compact for IT. We have revised it a couple times. Initially, we were just going to scan everything in using Laserfiche, and then the more we investigated, the more we realized that's probably not the way to go, because places like Laserfiche, they are happy to scan whatever we give them. But if you start with messy files, you end with messy files, and you don't actually find anything you need to find in the end. We were turned on to a company called King Information Systems, and what they do is a lot of work for municipalities as well as private industry, where they come in, they take a review of all the files and documents you have, they make recommendations on what they would suggest to do with them. So whether it is organizing them into an archive, handling daily files and putting a system in place so it's easier to locate them, whether it's organizing maps, or whether it's scanning records. At this point, they have given us an estimate as they've gone through all of our files in every department, I believe, but the police department, library, and COA. So all of the other departments, they have gone through those files. And they have a recommendation for us to put in archives piece in upstairs. So that would be utilizing equipment for shelving and specialized boxes. And they would come in and they would set up a database. So anything that's in there, we'd be able to find it. It would also give us reference for when it was time to dispose of said records. So if there was a public records request, we could put our fingers on something a lot quicker to determine if we even had it. Or we'd know exactly where to go look. And when it's time to dispose of things, it would update itself in the system. Once we removed it, sent it to the state, got permission, and then destroyed the record.
The items that would be in archive, would they be referenced within the electronic database so that you would know that they exist?
The record database sole purpose in this case would be for archival management.
Got it.
So we got a quote for that. We also had them look at various other systems. They have a system in mind for Cheryl's office for the land use, whereby I think we would end up adding in Concom files and, according to Mike, perhaps even some fire permits. So she would have access to all of those. It would be filed in that office by address and color-coded based on the board, committee, or department, right? So Board of Health would be one color, zoning board, planning board, building, all of those things, so that if someone asked any question on an address, they could put their fingers on it within a few seconds. So again, hoping to increase efficiency to reduce time. And then other things are organizing some of the files themselves, helping out DPW a little bit to get all of their things under wraps, as well as adding a archival system for all of our maps. It's interesting how they look at things. Usually, many of us would think, okay, we alphabetize things, right? Like, that's what we do. We need a space for every address ever. They don't recommend that. They actually recommend an address or a location for every file. So even if you add a box in later on, you don't have to put the box in the town clerk world. You just put the box on the shelf. The box has a number. The box has a location of where it's located. Shelf 2, row 1.
Yep.
And you can put your fingers on it very easily. So far, the folks we've talked to, Donna and I sat in with King Information System, and we started going through, or I started working then with some of the department heads. I have a couple more to just touch base with. As long as everyone is on board with the current plan, we're going to end up putting out a bid, because the whole project will exceed $50,000. So we just want to make sure we check all of our I's, dot all of our T's, dot all of our I's. I did reach out to the state earlier this afternoon. They already got back to me, extended the grant till June 30th.
Oh, good.
So we're all set for that. When we talk to King Information Systems right now, they're backlogged until about January to be able to start the archives. They have a couple different teams for different parts of the project, so other teams may be able to start first.
Okay.
And then the idea is still reserving some time and some money for scanning, specifically things that we get requests for on the daily, such as septic maps or fire permits of certain sorts, right? So trying to manage those pieces, but in essence, using technology along with getting things organized and getting down to the records we actually are required to keep, and not just having lots of files there that people haven't had a chance to go through for a while.
Okay.
So
How long do you anticipate the whole process taking?
I anticipate and cross my fingers it's all done by June 30th.
Okay.
So we
That's why
still
I
have a
asked.
couple
Yeah.
pieces of equipment to purchase. So we are purchasing a large scanner reader for map size for this building, or that's will be stored. Travis is aware of that
Yep.
it would be here. So we're working on getting that purchased. And then we are also going to use this funds to update our printer scanner at Town Hall. So instead of just using the funds we have there to lease, we're just going to purchase something between that and the grant itself. And then we're going to try to get some desktop scanners so people can easily put their files up,
Okay.
for those that make sense. So, any questions on that?
I have no question.
No?
All right. So, I don't have my bookmarks open. Oh, there aren't any bookmarks anyways. All right. So Heather, the agenda item is to just review the proposal, but do you need a vote of the board?
Yes, I would need a vote from the board if the board wishes to pursue this charge.
Okay. So I will accept a motion if somebody wants to make one.
So moved.
Second.
All right, and I assume, Kirk, that this is a motion to approve the proposal?
Correct.
Okay,
Julia, can I just make one change?
sure.
So the only thing that we should be changing here is on length of term to begin upon appointment, and it should say end upon completion
Okay,
of charge.
so, am I looking at a different agenda than you are? Okay.
No, it
So-
just said end June 30th, 2025.
Okay. So, Kirk, are you willing to accept that friendly amendment from Heather then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Carol has
Yeah,
seconded?
yeah, fine.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, Kirk?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
And I will vote aye as well. All right. So next up, we have the Charter Committee review. Heather's done some work on this, and so she has put together a charge, and she has sent it along to us to review. So that is on the last page, I think, in your packet. Heather, do you want to give us an overview?
Sure.
Oh, not the last page, I'm sorry.
It's
the last
page
thing.
59.
Yeah.
All right, so we have here, so 7 members is the suggested piece. So I did take a look at a number of other charter review committees throughout the state. It probably should really say Special Act Review Committee rather than charter, because we don't have the traditional charter where we actually have a charter commission. That being said, you know, I think one of the seems okay, but just for clarification purposes, we might want to specify that somewhere in the mission, so it's very clear. The idea, again, is to assemble a group of people in the municipality that would be able to take a look at the document we currently have, work with all of the existing stakeholders, so this board, along with other boards and committees, employees, department heads, residents, anyone who'd like to provide input, in order to be able to determine what of the current charter as written is working and what may be some challenges in the current document, as well as any updates that could be beneficial to the town, as well as looking at some of the other communities' charters to see if there's any that they like in particular that they think might make a beneficial to the town. You have here scope of work, review, evaluate current town charter, considering public input, best practice, municipal governance, legal requirements, identify areas, and so forth. So most of what I just talked about. The importance of the charter is that it's really the governing document for the town. So we have, you know, practices that are trumped by policies, that are trumped by bylaws, that are trumped by our charter.
Right.
So we want to make sure that the governing foundational document isn't in conflict with other practices that we currently have, that it really is, you know, setting the tone for everything else and doesn't have disagreements, and also kind of leads the way for where things are going. My recommendation, so I've looked at various compositions of membership for different boards, different committee charges throughout the state, and a lot of them do have, some odd number of either 5 or 7 members. Figured 7 was a good input, so you could get a larger range of folks. My recommendation in this case would be to actually have members who are not current employees, appointed officials, or elected officials of the town of Paxton, but rather people who maybe they haven't got involved yet or haven't had the opportunity. But it also allows it to be more of a process where it's other people coming in, they're not as familiar with these things. There's a little bit of a learning curve, but gives them an ability to look at things with a different scope. And a different set of eyes, and then they can still solicit, and they should solicit, the opinions of those people who are directly involved, and then digest those pieces and put them together.
Yep.
And then I would be available for assistance with research or any documents they need or any questions that they might have, or coordinating folks to attend their meetings. And I do have down here a final report due by March 31st, 2025, unless extended by the select board, which most likely would be the case.
Yes.
Unless people come in and they're all gung-ho and they do a meeting a week.
Yeah, I think that's an aggressive timeline, as
know,
you've
but-
acknowledged, but, but we can certainly work on that. So I'm going to open it up to any discussion before there's a motion, if you'd like. Any discussion on this?
No, I like the fact that it's people that aren't on boards, committees, or any other interaction with the town at the moment, so I like that.
Yeah, I think that helps to provide a better perspective, honestly. Sometimes you're a little nearsighted when you're too close to it, so that makes sense to me. Kirk, any comments?
Nope, I agree with Carol.
Yeah. All right, so I think this looks pretty good. Thank you, Heather, for putting this effort in. I think this looks great. It's a good way to get this thing going. So with that, I will accept a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, I'm getting waved at. So before we vote, let's get any public comment on it. Go ahead.
We appreciate you letting us speak before you vote, rather than at
The public session. Can I direct a couple of questions to the
Right.
town administrator?
Yeah.
Heather, at some point, can you give a clarification between your decision to go for a review committee as opposed to a commission?
So, unless I'm mistaken, usually a town takes one of two directions to form a charter. One way is going through a charter commission, which is usually I believe it's like a 2-year process, and one way is through a special act. Our charter currently in place is through the special act, so the idea would be to simply revise or review that and then submit it back to the legislature for readoption, as opposed to starting everything from scratch and switching directions and going for a charter commission.
In a committee is in a better position to do that than a commission?
So the commission is set up entirely different, right? We'd have to pull the MGLs and pull all the details on it. I haven't been involved with the commission in the past, but they have a specific way it's set up. I believe there's even voting, if I'm not mistaken, at like a town election to get people onto the commission. Like, it's an entirely different unit. This is simply still an advisory to the select board, right? Because the select board is the appointing authority. So the committee would come back after their work is done and say, okay, here's our document and here's our report telling you what we did, why we did it, how we did it, and why we think this document should be placed before the voters as is. And then the select board, along with any public, have the opportunity to ask any questions, make any changes, and then it goes to town meeting if the select board would like it to.
So let's assume it's, goes forward as a committee, it comes back to the select board. The select board takes it to either an annual town meeting or a special town meeting for approval?
Right.
Okay. So your document also makes mention of 7 members, which I'm going to weigh in. I think 9's too many and 5's not enough, so this is a perfect number. Indicates that current employees, appointed and elected officials cannot be members of it, which we also like, but that shrinks the participation pool quite a bit, because the people that are actively involved or want to be are actively involved on some of the existing boards and commissions and the like. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get members, which the select board appoints. So then the question is, has consideration been given to issuing a public service announcement or something of the like to invite people who may not watch this meeting, may not know that this process is in place, and may not know that the possibility to serve is out there? Has that been thought about?
So I added to my must-dos for tomorrow, advertise charter opening. So I'm
Right.
there. So we'll put it on, we'll do the press release, or our news release like we do sometimes on email blast. We can throw something up in the red section, because I don't think there's anything else alerting-wise going on right now. Throw it on Facebook, throw it on Paxton
signs.
Neighbors. And then I can also send it out to Ken Lombardi. Cleveland. What do I think is, I'm getting poor Cheryl mixed up in my head. Ken Cleveland over at the Landmark.
So the last question is that it strikes those of us that are not in town government, that have been interested in this type of thing, that there might be two lanes. One is to have the entire charter be looked at, which, as you mentioned a minute ago, the deadline is March 31st, 2025. Sometimes these things take 18 to 24 months, and March 31st, 25 is none of those. So it could be ambitious. But the other lane is part of, but separate from, the change from 3 members to 5 members. Is there a way that one of these can go about its normal process and take the time that it would typically take, versus accelerating a piece of it? Because if it is met by March 31st, 2025, if it is, then that's after the town caucus. That's probably not enough time for the annual town meeting, certainly not enough time for the annual town election in May of '25. But if a piece was split off and that was dealt with separately, maybe that can be addressed at the special town meeting in November and readied for the town caucus in 2025 and the town election in 2025. Otherwise, what a motivation of ours outside of the form of government's fine. It's just the number of members of the select board. If we go about what appears in this particular document, that may not take place until May of 2026, and to some of us, that's lost time that could have been accelerated and time could have been gained.
So it looks like, I was just clicking on the computer real quick, it looks like the average right now is somewhere between 6 months and a year for special acts of legislature, for the special act charters to actually get passed by the state.
So 6 months
To a year.
takes us to April of 2025, unless my math is
Well, you'd have to start from special town meeting in November,
right.
right? So
So is there something,
Yes.
because we don't want to work against you, we want to work with you. Is there something that can be accelerated, whereby a piece of this can be accelerated and the other piece can go about its normal way? That's really the question.
I think the select board already mentioned that and said we want to do it all as a old document. We don't see the point in pulling bits out. So we mentioned when this was brought up before that we'd like a full review and have it done in one piece.
Yeah, so we're looking to find out where your position is. If your position is not to split it out and do the whole thing, then we'd like to have that to be known to be the position.
It's my position.
I think
Because
we're
it may not be shared by others outside this meeting,
Yep.
and want to keep the favorable flavor of this thing when it was first introduced a month ago. We want to work with the town administration and the select board, but if there is a way to do some of it faster, I think there's an appetite for that. If there isn't, at least we asked the question, we thought it through, and we found out we couldn't do that. But not knowing or thinking or just resigning ourselves to it can't be done, I don't think the group outside of this meeting is at that place right now.
So I think this is a little bit different than passing a bylaw in town, right? It requires the legislature to actually approve it. So essentially, if we were to do something like that, we would be putting something on the docket for the legislature to approve as soon as it was approved at town meeting, right? We'd be putting it on their docket, and then we would have to wait 6 months to a year
Or more.
or more for that to get approved. In the meantime, we can try and do work on it, but until that gets approved, we can't resubmit a new one. So it actually served to delay us from doing our complete review. So that's the problem that I see with it. I think it ends up causing a delay, and it's a duplication of our effort.
Good information to have.
But I value your input on that.
Can I follow up just?
Yeah.
Roberta couldn't be here tonight, so she asked me if I would attend. I'm not sure my speaking form is the same as hers.
Roberta does a very nice job. I don't know what you're trying to say about
There you
yourself,
go.
Neil.
No, I'm just saying sometimes I'm rather abrupt.
Okay.
I guess you had communications with her.
did.
Through texting.
Yep.
And could you just explain or elaborate on the citizens petition, just so
Yeah.
I get a better understanding, and then anybody that may be viewing this after would also be enlightened.
Bear with me. I'm just gonna look at the message that I sent her. Oh, maybe I'm gonna look at the message I sent her so that I can tell you exactly what I told her. Actually, probably easier to do it here.
And as you're looking for that,
Yeah.
by no means, I agree with Mr. Love, do we want to delay or postpone? Go ahead, have you found it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, I'll wait.
Yeah, so I sent her a message on August 29th, and I said, "Hi, Roberta, just wanted to touch base with you after the last select board meeting. We got an answer from town council on the 5-person board. It could be considered as a revision to the current act. If it were done that way, it could be presented as a resident petition, so long as it specifies who is petitioning the legislature. I don't think this is something that is likely to be taken up by the board for November, given the intent for a full charter review is already in process, but you would have the option to try to do a citizen petition if you wanted to."
Okay, so does that work in conjunction with what the committee is doing? No, it's separate.
Yep.
Does it, because it's a separate act, then, does it in fact delay the process that the town is undertaking?
It would be a different a different organization or different unit that would be petitioning the legislature.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that it would delay things, however, it could cause some confusion. So,
Okay.
because potentially we land 2 bills on the doorstep of the state for approval at the same time, right? Potentially there's 2 that are in process at the same time.
But can one be withdrawn? In other words, if the committee's findings
Yeah.
were in agreement with what the citizens action, I don't want to say committee, we have a lot of committees, but the citizens group looking for a change, it's my understanding, and again, I'm not speaking for Roberta, because we had a long discussion today, and I said, I hope I do you justice, but if the committee's findings were along the same path as the citizens' request or wishes,
Yep.
could the citizens then remove theirs from the state legislature? I believe they could. So I guess what I'm saying, we don't want to end up being combative. We want to all work together for the same end result. And I think the feeling in town right now is that a 5-member board might be beneficial. We won't know until we explore this a little further, but I feel confident that a citizen's petition could gather enough signatures to at least start the ball rolling. And then it would work parallel, I guess, to whatever the committee were to find. But again, we don't want to be combative. If you don't feel that it's in everybody's best interest, then maybe we need to just review the conditions or the paths that the citizens would like to take.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I guess I'm asking, we're trying to put it all on the table here so that everybody understands where we're going.
At no point do I think a citizen's petition should be viewed as being combative, right?
Okay,
That is your right as a citizen to do that. That's why it's in place. So at any town meeting, there could be a citizen's petition for just about anything, right?
Okay.
It's the beauty of our town government.
okay.
So I would never tell you not to submit a citizen's petition. I just don't think that's right. You have the right to do that,
Okay.
okay? As far as would you be able to withdraw it from the legislature, I don't see why not, but I don't know the specifics of that, so I don't want to advise you.
No, I think we
Incorrectly.
would get,
Yeah.
advice along that
Yeah.
path or along taking that course.
Yeah.
Which is fine, okay. All
Okay.
right, so I guess I'd like to just put on the table that that action may be moving forward. I don't know if it's going to be successful, but I think it's something that is going to start, and we want it out in the open, that everybody knows about it, and let's just see where we get to.
Yeah,
Okay.
and absolutely, you're within your right to do that.
Now, just, this is my edification here. Does it have to be a warrant article for the special town meeting, or can it be presented at the town meeting?
It has to be a warrant article.
Okay, so it has to be done before you close the warrant?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm good right now, so please go ahead with your motion and seconds. Oh, I'm sorry.
What is the date that the warrants close?
I think it's a Wednesday, October,
Don't recall off the top of my head.
I was thinking of this morning. Let's see, 2nd and 4th. I think it was like, I don't want to guess.
2 weeks for a special town meeting, right?
Yeah, but we close,
Yeah, like on 4 PM on a Wednesday before.
yeah, so that I have time to get everything to
Right.
you guys and to legal. I want to, it's either the 16th or the 23rd.
My recollection is the committees have 2 weeks and the printer has 6.
It's in-house.
So we might want to find out definitively.
We have it in our minutes. Might even be in.
And it's 2 weeks before the special town meeting?
No, that's,
That's the required notice period to post a
Has to be
warrant.
posted.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's posting the warrant, but we have, the select board set the date of when everything's due before that, so we have time to make sure articles are correct and everything else. Now, remember, with citizens petitions, we can't touch them, so whatever gets signed and submitted, it's 100% verbatim. We essentially
We can't fix
start
it.
typing verbatim and put it on the warrant, and that's it.
The deadline to submit is the 23rd at 4 PM.
Thank you.
What was that again? Donna?
23rd?
23rd at 4 PM.
2, 3, 4.
That's when it closes, but you need
That's
to
when the
have
warrant
it
closes.
before that, so you can vote on it to put it on the.
Correct.
No,
Well,
they need to
that
have.
would be the day.
The last day to submit something to our office is the 23rd at 4 PM.
thank you.
So if it's going to be before the select board for review for inclusion,
The next Monday.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Am I done? Go, please take your, move the motion forward then.
Thank you.
All right. We'll make sure to tell Roberta you did a fine job, Neil.
You send us,
All right, so we have a motion on the table and a second. Does anybody need a refresher?
No,
Okay. So Kirk, how do you vote?
Aye.
Carol?
aye.
And I will vote aye, so I declare the motion passes. Okay. Next up, I believe, hold on, I don't want to get it out of order. Oh my God, I gotta.
It'd be helpful if,
There we go.
they inserted the agenda between each item.
Just a bookmark would be helpful for me. Like, all I
You
need
don't
is the
have to
bookmark, but,
Scroll all the way back to the top. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
I try to put bookmarks in for myself, but I forgot. So, all right. Select board correspondence, I have none. I don't believe. I don't remember any. And then we have the town administrator's report.
Okay, first up, we have the Paxton Outdoor Movie Night was rescheduled. And it is now going to be on Friday, September 27th. Activities will begin at 6:15. The movie starts at sundown, which is approximately, give or take, 7 p.m. Food can be purchased at the Snack Shack. This is a family event. Please do not drop off unsupervised children. They will be sold. No, please do not drop off unsupervised children. It's presented by Paxton Rec, and they will be showing Illuminations Migration. 9:24 is Board of Health meeting at 7 p.m. at the Council on Aging. The 25th will be another zoning bylaw.
No.
No, you don't have one tomorrow?
We do, but it's going to be at the town hall, not the Council on Aging, so I just want to make sure that people
It'll be
are
at
aware.
Town Hall for the large number of people who are attending
That's
the
right.
Board of Health meeting. On 9:25, the zoning bylaw information session will be in this room. There is a Zoom link available again as well. Last week, it looks like we had, I think when I just looked on YouTube, about 76 views for the recording, so it's pretty exciting. 9:25 is the Community Health Fair at the Council on Aging. Cindy's been working very hard on this for a very long time. It's from 1 to 3 p.m. Oh, it's from 10 to...
That's what it says on the sign.
Never mind, I lied. It's 10 to 1. Good thing Neil's here paying attention. I think this was my first draft before I realized I made an error and revised it. On October 8th, Representative Ferguson and Senator Durant will hold their office hours again at Town Hall from 2:30 to 3:30. On October 9th, the zoning bylaw information session again will be in this room, 7 p.m., also on Zoom. On October 10th, the Economic Development Committee is meeting at 7 p.m. I believe that's at the COA. Or is that one remote? That you should check online. It's a hyperlink on the agenda, on the piece here, so you can click right to it. And I should know this because I wrote the agenda, but I do not recall. It might be remote only. On October 14th, it is, are we on Columbus Day or National Indigenous People Day? We're on the latter.
You know, I'm
So
not
it's-
sure how our employee handbook reads at the moment.
So it's
For that.
we're closed townwide for the holiday. On October 15th, there's an Open Space Recreation Committee meeting at 5 p.m. with Council on Aging. And then October 15th, we have a Select Board meeting here at 7 p.m. We'll also add the Zoom link again as well. Opportunities, so we currently have a few openings available. If folks are interested or know someone who might be a great fit for the town and be up for these positions, we have 2 full-time firefighter/paramedic positions, 2 full-time police officers, a part-time public safety officer for AMC, I believe is still open, after-school group leader, and a part-time technical services assistant as of the writing of this document. Volunteer opportunities, so again, we have quite a few. The one I'm highlighting this week is the Economic Development Committee. We've already received some interest in this opening. If you know someone or you are interested, please get your application in to us before September 30th so that the Select Board can consider it at their next meeting. Town business updates, Council on Aging. So as we all know, COA experienced an unfortunate incident of vandalism and had a breaking into last month, or earlier this month rather. As a result of great police work, the town was able to make an arrest and recover most of the stolen items. The town's working with our insurance company to make necessary building repairs. Council, see, I have it right in this spot. Council on Aging is hosting their annual health fair on Wednesday, September 25th from 10 to 1. It was right in one spot, wrong in the other. 50% credit, right? Get your flu, COVID shots, a glucose circulation check, and health hearing screening with more than 30 area agencies and service providers. This will be the COA's best health fair yet. I've been watching Deal Guy on YouTube, so that's where my
Those or what?
that's like the promo. He's like, this will be the best deals at Costco yet. Punchy, and I'm sorry. Police Department. So we've already recognized Tanya Peters and Michael Hinckley for joining the team in public safety officer positions at the AMC. In the town clerk office, we are welcoming aboard Betty Cox, who will be starting as the assistant town clerk on Monday, September 30th. She's a town resident. She's very excited to get going with us. We're excited to have her. Basketball hoops. This is a favorite project. I think we're almost completing this project, hopefully this week. It looks like the electrical work and the work to move the alarm system pieces should just about be complete. And then we will have the side court hoops installed, hopefully by the end of the week, and we'll be on to the full court. Zoning bylaws, we've already provided that update. We had about half a dozen folks between online and in person. It was actually a nice little session. I figured we didn't have as many people because we were talking about definitions for 30 minutes, so that is a boring topic for many people. But this week we get into housing. So it should start increasing the number of people who tune in. Let's see, TA FY25 goals, just some quick updates. So they are updated on the town's website as well. So town bylaws, I have so far split out the Mass General laws that were accepted by town meeting from the town's votes and bylaws. I know a lot of folks found it really helpful to have the index associated with those with that document. So I'm trying to make sure that as I'm separating out the Mass General laws acceptance, that they actually are indexed up to a table of contents so you can quickly find them. Let's see what else I got here. Employee recruitment and retention. We did do our first all-employee newsletter that went out on September 15th. I'll try to stick it to the 15th by email. And for those folks that I knew did not have town emails, I did provide copies in hand. Town zoning bylaws, we're already on page with this one, so the website continues to be updated. I started updating some of the info session sheets and bylaw outlines for Wednesday night. I have a few more to go, and the last one, so if anyone's trying to pre-read, you won't be able to until Wednesday, but the last one's the ADU. We're just trying, the accessory dwelling units, we're gonna have another quick meeting tomorrow to make sure we're all on the same page of what direction we're going with that, make sure it's ready for prime time. Otherwise, pieces will be up there. I do not have the link to the video up there just yet, but it seems like quite a few people have already found it on Zoom, or on YouTube rather, so we will add that link. And I do not have enough tools at my disposal to be able to break up into clips like I had hoped, so I will end up just putting time stamps. So each one of those, you'll see the video link, you can click right there, and then it'll tell you what timestamp to click to if you do not want to see the other pieces, or if you're going in to research a very specific section. Most of the sections were pretty short, and I think we wrapped up as predicted in an hour and a half.
On the button.
So,
Despite my attempts at delaying you.
Within 90 minutes, it was there.
well, we know that this is a very large topic and very convoluted at times with different pieces. We want to give people an opportunity to speak and also be able to see all the different pieces that are being changed, make sure they understand what's going on, but also not prolong it so long that we lose all attention.
Correct.
Town charter, so we're all set with that. We
Quick
got the
question,
town.
Heather.
Yes, sorry.
The 79 views, are those unique views?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, just wondering.
I don't have that much background in YouTube. I can certainly look it up, and I'm sure if anyone's watching tonight and they understand the answer to that, they'll let me know as well.
I don't think you need to waste your time looking that up.
Yeah, I'm sure someone will let me know. I don't think it's unique views. I think it's anytime someone clicks on the video.
Yeah.
That being said, I've only watched the video, clicked on it once, so I don't think I'm contributing to the 78 other times. Let's see. We did try to do Facebook Live. I have to go back into the settings in Zoom and do some more research because it won't let me do that connection. I've tried YouTube Live in the past too, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure what its holdup is. Like, I follow all the steps, I get there, and it's like, nope. So we'll keep looking. By the time we get to MBTA, my goal is to also be able to do Facebook Live simultaneously. Let's see, financial well-being. So we are in the process of looking up or finishing the budget forecast for FY26, FY30. I should have that done mostly by this week. And then I need to work with Mark and the Finance Committee to get a budget calendar drafted along with budget guidance for them to take a look, and then the Select Board take a look at the same time. And we still need to work on getting hopefully a group meeting of Select Board and FinCom working group together. Availability and finding times, and everyone's available at the same time is fun. I have your problem, Mark. So, town finances, no updates on procurement as of the writing this, and grants. There is a list of grants. I know it is super tiny. I'm very sorry. I'll try to get it on a full sheet, but there was really not many updates from last time, and nothing new added, but we'll continue adding to this piece each month. And then if there's anything anyone out there would like to see on these reports that I don't include, please let me know, and I will happily add them to my next round. Are there any questions?
All right, so that's that. Is there any public comment?
There is, if I may.
Absolutely.
Following last Wednesday's information session and the dialogue that we had back and forth, I actually went and found Paxton's agricultural farm preservation bylaw, the right to farm.
That's right.
Okay, so I just had a couple of questions, because I had never seen this. I mean, I'll be very honest with you, it being involved with some of the zoning and planning
Yeah.
over the last 24 years, I didn't know about this. But there was one section in here, Section 4, the Agricultural Commission, a 5-member commission appointed by the Board of Selectmen. Have we done that?
Could never get anybody to sign up for that.
Right.
Well, okay, so the other thing in reviewing the 3 or 4 pages here, this is basically for commercial right to farm, not residential right to farm.
So that bylaw focuses on commercial, but if you notice at the top of that bylaw, it states that incorporated herein or by virtue of passing this bylaw, the town accepts the certain provisions of the statute. And so that's where the rub starts to begins, right? Because the statute is not specific to only commercial agriculture. So that's where, I mean, I just really think it's probably going to be a town council thing that they're going to have to sort out and let us know what we can and can't do.
In terms of definitions, I mean, you and I spent a lot of time, well, Heather
Yeah.
too, on poultry versus chickens and roosters.
Right.
Okay, so there's some verbiage here that calls farm,
Yeah.
and it basically says cultivation and tillage of the soil, production, cultivation, growing, or harvesting of any agricultural, floricultural, verticultural, horticultural, or aquatic commodities for commercial purposes, growing and harvesting of forestry products, raising livestock, including horses, keeping of horses as a commercial enterprise, and keeping and raising poultry, swine, cattle, emus, ostriches, rheas, all kinds of other animals here that I'm not going to get into, including bees and fur-bearing animals for food or agricultural purposes. But anybody in town with a residence, and let's just say 3 acres or less, doesn't fall under this, because it's not for commercial use. I mean, you can't produce enough, well, you could produce honey, I suppose, but other than that, I mean, how many eggs do you produce? I guess that's a personal question.
Like, it's a very
all right, how many
personal
chickens?
question, depending on how you-
Right, Kirk, how many chickens do you have?
Do I have chickens?
Yes, how many do you have?
14.
Okay, so just, this is an example. All right, so you have a dozen. How many eggs do those chickens produce in a week, and can your family consume them all?
Depends on the time of the year, and somewhere between 7 and 9,
Yeah.
depending on the time of the year.
Per chicken?
And yes, per
day.
quarter.
Day.
So it's usually roughly 1 egg per chicken per day, right? But some chickens lay every day, some chickens lay every other day, depends on the breed of the chicken.
Okay, so if there's a dozen chickens, that's 50 eggs a week, we'll say. 7 times 7 days, 49, 50 eggs.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like eggs, Kirk?
I eat about 2 dozen a week. My wife eats about 2 dozen a week.
Holy crap.
I take them for lunches and I eat them for breakfast. So
Better get more chickens.
We eat a lot of eggs.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, I mean, he doesn't fall under the right to farm, nor would you, nor would I when I bring my chickens in. So it's just, I'm going to classify it more as a hobby than as a right to farm.
Again, I think that there's a couple of issues with the bylaws as they're written, right? Because even just within that one bylaw, there's some discrepancies conflicts within that single bylaw, and then it also conflicts with our existing other bylaws. So what I was hoping to do, and what I think should be done, when I spoke at the information session, is help to clarify all that so that we know what is in conflict, what isn't in conflict, so that we make sure that going forward, our bylaws are correct and accurate and enforceable.
Okay.
Whereas currently, I don't think that they are.
All right, so because we're on the clock, what is the timeline for voicing those conflicts so that we can get them cleared up? I mean,
Yeah, well, I think it needs to go to town council. So the whole thing's gonna go to town council, right, at some point. So
but they may not know what to look for, is what I'm saying.
I'm sure Heather will give them that direction. Right, Heather?
If it's important to them from the select board for me to make sure that they take a specific look at that section, I'm happy to communicate that.
I think it's important that they're accurate and enforceable, and that there aren't conflicts where we see conflicts. So that's what we're hoping to do.
Okay, but just, go ahead, Kirk.
For clarification, chickens doesn't necessarily mean roosters either.
No,
So-
we made a very distinct definition or a difference in the two,
Yeah.
in the proposed changes.
Yeah, so Kirk, I don't know if you've seen the proposed changes, but as of right now, the proposed changes place specific notation on roosters in its special permit.
5 acres.
Is it denied?
No, you have to have 5 acres to have a rooster.
So I thought it was special permit across the board for each
But
category.
roosters are at 5 acres.
If you have
Correct?
less than 5 acres, you can't
No
have a
rooster.
So no
Yeah.
rooster for less than 5
Right, you
acres.
can have all the chickens you want.
I thought there was special I thought it was by special permit.
It is by special permit. It has to be,
Okay.
so. and the
You have to
reason-
have at least 5 acres to have a rooster, and to get the rooster, you then, once you have 5 acres.
You then
check
have to have a special
permit.
Right,
Yeah.
but the idea, we were trying to follow up on your question about we need to know where these chickens are, so if we ever have to notify those
That's
that
right.
have chickens, we have the ability to go to the database.
Yep.
And say, please, be aware of whatever.
Right.
Okay, so that's where we're going. I just, as I said, I want to make sure, because we're on the clock, and I mean, we're coming down to the
Totally
short
agree.
time frame here to get
Yep.
this thing done. So if you have, could you put it in writing and maybe send it to the committee, the steering committee, or through, I don't care, but I just want to make sure that we address it.
Yep.
And it doesn't just fall off the edge. We get to the 18th at the special town meeting, and,
And here comes Julia standing
well, no,
up.
but you might stand up and say, hey, well, we didn't address this, so
Yeah.
then we're going to try to do it on the fly there. I'd rather
Right.
have it done beforehand.
Yeah, so my understanding was Heather already brought it to the steering committee once, but I'm not sure if that, I don't know if I wasn't there.
Okay, I
so-
know we had discussions with Jane, and we used Jane as our consultant to say,
Yep.
this appears to be following protocol, I guess. So, and you didn't feel that way, so that's why I want to make
Right.
sure that we address that to get this
Yep.
taken care of.
Yeah, I want to make sure there's no conflicts in the bylaw. I also have my own personal feelings on agriculture in general. And, we appreciate the rural nature of our town. I appreciate the rural nature of our town. And when we start zoning out agriculture, no matter how small that feels, right? If we're just zoning out a rooster, it doesn't feel big, but it does send an impact, right? And it does ripple across the agricultural community that Paxton's not friendly to agriculture. And I don't think that that's what I want the town to feel or have displayed, so. Now, mind you, roosters, I honestly, in and of itself, that one bit, I don't personally care much about roosters, one way or the other, right? But I think the bylaw fails to address other poultry that actually create more noise than roosters. Guinea hens being number 1 on my list. Peacocks being number 2 on the list. People do have them. They do make a ton of noise, right? More noise than roosters. But we're not addressing those. We're specifically talking about roosters. It just seems short-sighted. And I want to make sure that when we're doing this, it's well thought out. It is going to be something that is overall going to last for a while, right? And we're not going to run into situations where, we have a problem on a property and then we can't do anything about it because the bylaw conflicts with the state law or whatever.
Okay,
All right?
okay. I guess I'm good. So, but we don't have an agricultural commission.
No.
No.
Should we?
I'd love to have an agricultural commission.
Well, it's within your means, within your
Well, we can
power.
Well, we can try again.
We certainly
I
can.
think we had 1 or 2 members at one stage.
Go
And
twist some
that's it.
arms and say you're on it.
Yeah,
Don't give them a choice, say you're on it. Because it should be 5 members appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
yeah.
And 3
I'd
off.
like to nominate Neil.
There you
Baptist.
go. See that?
Neil, you have bees, right? Look,
I
you could-
did.
you
I
could
had
be right
bees
on
until
that.
the bears came.
Oh, no.
You just said twist arms.
There you go, yeah. I think we need some fresh arms to twist.
Oh, okay. So now there's a caveat.
No, I'm all set, thank you.
All right. Thank you very
See you
much.
Wednesday night.
I will plan to be there.
All right.
All right. All right. So with that, is there anything else? Does anybody else have anything?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All those in favor, Kirk?
Aye.
Carol?
aye.
And I'll vote aye. We are adjourned.